Hi everyone, my name is Kathy. Today I'm going to talk about a research study called Animal Assisted Education (AAE) for primary school children in the time of COVID-19, which is a project that I've been working with my colleagues in the University of Hong Kong. The study was based on a 3-year AAE program called Competence in Active Resilience for Kids, that is, Caring Kids. It lasted from 2018 to 2021, so it's a program that just lasted this year. Caring Kids focused on social emotional learning and human education based on the One Health concept, aiming at teaching children animal welfare and cultivating a pro-human animal environmental attitude among them. The program targeted to primary 2 and 3 students in Hong Kong, which is around 7 or 8 years of age. It is an age group that we found most effective when teaching social emotional learning according to findings from previous literature. The program consisted of 6 sessions, which covered various topics aiming at enhancing students' empathy and pro-social behaviors, as well as their social and emotional competencies. We also added a component of reading to canines in each session. I will explain with more details in the next slide. The reading canines came from 4 collaborating organizations in Hong Kong, where canines have completed vigorous assessments with their handlers prior to joining the program. For example, the assessments made sure the reading canines would enjoy being with children and can stay or sit for 45 minutes during the session. 2 to 3 reading dogs were invited to attend 6 sessions for the same group of students. As you can see from the photos, the small groups of students were reading to canines and the handlers, and the students could apply what they have learned in the sessions and interact with the canines. A series of storybooks were designed and published based on real dog stories in Hong Kong so as to fit in each session's main themes. For example, there were stories teaching students how to recognize dogs' emotions, how to be a good friend with dogs, or how to solve problems in our daily lives. Unfortunately, the outbreak of COVID-19 has disrupted the face-to-face program, especially when most primary schools were suspended in Hong Kong for several months last year. As a result, we moved the module of the program from face-to-face to virtual so as to safeguard the canines, their handlers, and the students. In particular, there are a few main changes for online version. So you can see from the left-hand side, it is a picture that was taken before COVID-19, and on the right-hand side, it's during COVID-19. A few changes were made, particularly for this kind of online session. For example, in recognition of Zoom fatigue and to fit in school schedule of online learning during lockdown, we limited the duration of each session to 30 to 35 minutes under the Caring Kids framework and stressed on providing social connection and handling the changes of lifestyle during COVID-19. As we mentioned in previous slide, we used to have self-developed storybooks in physical form for students to read to the canines. For online session, the books were converted into e-books so that students could read to canines through the screen. We also asked the handlers of the reading canines to record videos showing the canines' recent activities and tell the students how the canines themselves were adapting to the new normal. For example, the dogs might go out for a walk in non-peak hours and try to stay active at home by doing fun indoor exercises, etc. Besides that, we used reading canines photos to create videos through an app called My Talking Pet to teach students how to maintain personal hygiene and healthy lifestyle amid the pandemic. With all these changes, we would like to examine if the hybrid mode of AAE could cultivate similar impacts to students in face-to-face version, and if it was effective in helping students with emotional problems during lockdown. So a case-control trial was conducted last year. All the data was collected from October 2020 to January 2021. A total of 67 P3 students were recruited to participate in the study. As you can see, 35 of them were from intervention group and 32 of them from control group. Where intervention group received hybrid mode AAE, meaning they received face-to-face mode of caring kids in the first 2 sessions and then continued the remaining sessions in online format because of COVID-19 school suspension, while control group received ordinary teaching. Questionnaire composed of strengths and difficulties questionnaire, animal empathy scale, and parent-child relationship scale were distributed to participants and their parents 1 week before and 1 week after intervention to evaluate program impact. As you can see from the table here, the scales mainly asked about students' prosocial level and hyperactivity level, as well as students' self-rated emotional problem, empathy as general and to animals, as well as parents' rated closeness to their children. Results showed that the reliability of the scales in questionnaire varied from 0.66 to 0.81, which is acceptable and good. We used mixed, repeated measures ANOVA to compare participants' changes between groups before and after the intervention. As you can see from the graph here, blue line represents intervention group and green line represents control group. Results show that the intervention group who received hybrid mode AAE reported a significant reduction in emotional problems. We can also find significant reduction in participants' hyperactivity reported by their parents. It is a parents-rated questionnaire, meaning that their parents considered their children more emotionally stable, can better concentrate, and less impulsive after the program. On the contrary, the control group participants' parents reported their children had increased hyperactivity during school suspension. From the results of the study, there are a few implications we can consider when planning for similar intervention or conducting subsequent research. For example, the results indicated that the hybrid mode AAE program helped students better adapt to the uncertainty as they felt less worried and more positive in their new situation. Another positive aspect of the hybrid mode AAE is that the teaching was no longer confined in classroom setting. Such flexibility allows us to better engage with students' family members, as sometimes we could see them or the siblings' faces on the screen, who were actively also participating in the session, which facilitated discussion about animal welfare or One Health in the family. Although hybrid mode AAE is not as ideal as the face-to-face program for teaching children humane and social-emotional learning, it is an alternative that ensures the safety of participating students and reading canines, as well as their handlers, and engaged, isolated individuals in such unprecedented time. Besides the few points that I have just mentioned, there are 2 unique challenges that we found only in hybrid mode AAE. The first challenge is that students with lower socioeconomic status often lacked electronic devices that enable mutual interaction. For example, like a camera or a microphone, which may lower the interest in sessions when mutual communication was not possible. Another challenge is that certain activities such as petting and brushing the canines could not be performed in hybrid mode AAE. This is an unreplaceable element that we can only find in face-to-face session. Therefore, we had to switch the direction and instead stressed on social connection by teaching the students that animals were adapting to the new environment too, and then we all cannot wait to start the normal face-to-face session with you all again. In conclusion, although the hybrid mode AAE is not as ideal as the face-to-face program for teaching children humane and social-emotional learning, with careful planning, it is an alternative that ensures the safety of participating students and reading canines, as well as the handlers and engages isolated individuals in such difficult period of time. Here you can find a list of references that I have used in the presentation. Thank you. This is the end of my presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions.